My name is Steffen Juranek. I'm a professor at NHH, Norwegian School of Economics, and I'm also the academic director of our Executive MBA specialization in seafood management. We have one program with 3 specializations. The first one is strategic management, the second one management control, and the third one seafood management. So what they all have in common is that we want to provide participants with tools and knowledge to take the next steps in their careers. So these are often leadership positions, and kind of our aim is to help them along their journey. I will focus here on the specialization in seafood management for 2 reasons. First, I'm the academic director, and second, it is the specialization with which we try to tackle international markets and where we try to attract international candidates. And in order to understand the relevance of seafood for Norway, let me present an analogy. So if you think of engineering, you often think of Germany. If you think of watches, it's Switzerland, high-tech Silicon Valley. And if it's seafood, it's Norway, maybe in particular the western part of Norway. So this is not a very traditional industry anymore, even though of course it has a long history, but nowadays it's really high-tech, right? You can think about aquaculture is really a high-tech industry, but also the fisheries became really capital intense and technology intense. So now we try to kind of be within this industry, and we are kind of, what we offer as a program is really a cohort-based program. So kind of we have one cohort following through the program for 2 years with a very close personal guidance by our lecturers, but also particularly by the academic director. We offer these strong networking opportunities, right? Because we kind of, Norway is really one of the key industries here. We're really able to attract international candidates. And that creates a very good networking opportunity also for the students, a lot to learn from each other. And we also have a very close connection to the business world. Right? We have just down the road is one of the major players in the industry. So we have many connections over there. We can welcome them in class. We have our case applications centering around players from the industry. Sustainability is really a core issue of the program, and I'd say particularly of the seafood management specialization. Questions related to sustainability are the key hurdle for future growth. And that includes production, logistics, but also feed. So now innovating and finding new solutions for a problem are really essential for the future of the industry. And as seafood itself is a key ingredient for sustainable food production globally, we can see this very strong link between sustainability and what we have to offer in the program to offer a relevant education there. One thing I would also like to add is kind of something that we add additionally is also particularly kind of the idea of a Nordic leadership model, right, with very flat hierarchies, is probably also a particular experience that our candidates will experience here. We have 3 specializations. The first one is strategic management, we have management control, and seafood management. The first 2 are actually specializations with a long history and a successful track record. Whereas the strategic management specialization has a focus on strategic decision making, the specialization on management control focuses even more on the implementation and the financial and controlling aspects. In contrast, the seafood management specialization addresses an international market, it takes place fully in English, and it is related to our strategic management specialization, but focuses particularly on this specific industry. And that means 2 things. First, certain topics, actually such as sustainability challenges, receive a bit more of attention. Second, whenever we have case discussions or applications in general, they center around the industry. For example, when discussing marketing, we cannot connect it to the market entry. We connected it to the market entry strategy of a Norwegian salmon producer in Japan. Right? So kind of whenever we have certain applications of our theory, it will center around the industry. But also finally, whenever we have guest lectures or site visits, they relate to this very specific industry. And we actually regularly welcome senior industry participants to our campus. Seafood actually makes up a quarter of all Norwegian mainland exports. And that highlights the importance of the industry for the country. And the specialization was actually created as an initiative of the Norwegian seafood industry. And in particular, the aquaculture industry is relatively young with strong growth rates in the recent past. So that this growth led kind of for companies, small organizations to suddenly become big players. And that created the need for professionalization. Right? So kind of many of those grew from small organizations to now big global players. And that process requires knowledge and skill, particularly among the leadership. Right? And that created the need for an education program, and therefore we directly contribute to this professionalization process in the industry. Right? But the idea then was also saying, okay, we want to take this further and do not have the particularly Norwegian focus, but also kind of create this program where we include international industry participants, because it is actually a very global industry. To start off with, sustainability is actually multifaceted, right? And as in the seafood industry, particularly as most of the production takes place in nature, the industry depends on its well-being. Already small shifts in the environment can have actually major adverse effects. The industry players do not only have to address those issues, but also prepare for consequences, right? So as the typical sustainability topics that we cover. And that can start, in our case, very locally with the local environment, but it goes up to the global ones, such as climate change. And our contribution is to highlight the challenges, discuss potential solutions, and I'd say more generally provide a toolbox to successfully deal with environmental and sustainability challenges, very generally. In general, there's of course a strong overlap with other schools, right? As our Triple Crown accreditation shows, as the accreditation officers, they make sure that all of us adhere to the same standards. But then there are of course things that we add on top, and I believe what we offer additionally is a very close personal guidance in the study journey. So we are cohort based, and we have an academic director that follows the students through their study journey. And on top of that, we have this focus on Nordic business values and practices. NHH is regarded as a top business school in Norway. And when you look at the top management of Norwegian companies, you will often find an alumni from NHH there. And that can be either an alumni from our full-time program, which we offer the basic management education, or the basic full-time management education. But we are also a top choice for leaders with a technical or natural science background that want to acquire additional relevant skills for their leadership career. So that kind of have the basis, a bachelor or master's education from before in a natural science or from a technical nature, and then add an MBA on top of that. Within our target group is in principle everyone who wants to take the next steps in the leadership career. The typical candidate within the seafood management specialization has actually a non-business education and seeks to acquire business and management skills to successfully maneuver within an organization or on markets. All the candidates bring a deep knowledge of the industry, often in different areas, and that also leads to an insightful intellectual exchange in class.